Hello, welcome to Local Anaesthetic Podcast, the most trusted name in local news. My name is Alex, and joining us as always via Skype is Rob.
Hello folks, I hope everyone's well.
And this is episode 287. We are recording on the 23rd of September, Rob. And, I mean, look, I said, didn't I, the most trusted name in local news, but I do feel that after what I said last episode, it should be local news, Rob, for local people. And the reason I say that, of course, is when I mentioned it last week, within I don't know how long it was, but we had a message from Face of Strange, a very loyal listener of ours who's also an amazing artist, done a lot of work for us, and he had done an amazing image, a very disturbing yet amazing image. I mean, can you describe it for the listener?
Well, I mean, for our British listeners who are hopefully familiar with the League of Gentlemen, it's I can't remember the other character. It's Tubbs and I can't remember his name. You Google it and I'll keep talking. So yeah, it's to the two characters who run the local shop in the League of Gentlemen in Royston Vasey. And for our international listeners who may not be aware of the Edward and Tubbs, that's right, thank you. Yes. Yeah, it's a very black comedy about local people in a local town who get up to all. It is very dark. Yeah, very much so. And
so he's mocked us up as those characters. I mean, you do make a fantastic Edward, a bizarrely good Edward.
Do you know what? I could not disagree with that. I mean, I think it is superb, and yeah.
It's up on the Facebook page, isn't it, Rob? For everybody who wants to check it out. You'll see it straight away. It'll actually say there's a big banner at the top, newspaper style, that says local news for local people. And I don't know where he keeps getting these pictures of us. This is what I find slightly disturbing. Where is he getting these pictures of us? Is he somewhere in my, like outside my window with a telephoto lens, Rob?
Well, I wouldn't like to say, Alex, but he sent me a few other pictures that are purely for my entertainment. I have sent him a few in the past. And he did contact me to say, have you got any face-on pictures of Alex? And I must admit, I have very few pictures of you.
Yeah, very few people have pictures of me, Rob. It's Look, I've told you before, I live under the constant threat of assassination.
Of course, yeah.
Well, Thank you again, Face of Strange. I mean, when you sent me that, Rob, it was perfect. I thought absolutely perfect, and he's hit it out the park again. Well, Rob, I have to tell you, I'm still riding high today because I was at the Emirates Stadium yesterday.
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yes, to see Arsenal Villa, which was probably the most chaotic, crazy game of football anybody's ever witnessed at the Emirates Stadium. It's absolutely fantastic. 1-0 down. The whole crowd is frustrated. We come back eventually to equalise in the second half after having a man sent off. So we've got 10 men. They immediately score, and then we come back to win the thing 3-2. And, I could barely hear anything when I got out of the stadium, and you can hear my voice as well. I lost quite a bit. But what was amazing, Rob, is I happened to be recording on my phone at the moment the third goal went in.
Oh, nice. Lovely.
Yeah. So that was a good time. I understand listeners from all over the UK and around the world, there'll be many people who don't support Arsenal, but to those people, I just say, live with it. Right, Rob.
Great. Yes, Alex.
Yeah, but look, everybody loves Arsenal. People who support Arsenal love Arsenal, and neutrals love Arsenal, because watching us is, you're going to get entertained. We're going to ship a shitload of goals at the back, and we're going to score goals too. I mean, we really are chaotic, Rob.
Yeah, it's been quite a chaotic season. I mean, although I have to stress, this is not, for any new listener, this is not, and I repeat, not a football podcast.
No, it's not. This is a podcast about local news for local people. Rob and I report on strange, weird, sinister local news that ourselves and our listeners out there have found. We've been doing this now for 286 episodes. This is the 287th, Rob. And this episode, Rob, like all of our episodes, such high calibre recently. I mean, if I must say so myself, I've got some great stories for us this week, Rob.
Yeah, I think I do as well. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, some of them have been doing the rounds, but they're both great stories.
Any news before we get on with this? Because I'm itching to start.
I did say on the Facebook page when I posted the picture of Edward and Tubbs that you're unwell, so we had a nice well-wisher from Kyber. Well-wisher? It's a comment, basically. Just saying they hoped you got better soon, but apart from that, not really. And then I happened to look at the Facebook page today, and as of 3 hours ago, Amy has posted A flyer for the winter experience at Eagle Heights.
Okay, we'll have to check that out later then. We'll have to check that out later. Unless there's anything you want to share from it now, Rob.
No. I think we'll keep that for next week.
Okay. Rob, let's get on with this then. I'm going to start. I'm sorry to do this, but I'm going to start off with a story from the Daily Mail. But this is because it was submitted by my father today.
Right.
Because, as you know, he does send us the odd story. Don't believe he's ever listens to the podcast at all, but he's aware that I do it and he's aware of what it's about. So, but this story, Rob, he understands the podcast who have sent this is for sure. And the reason it's from the Daily Mail and not a local newspaper, and I'm talking there for the purists from you, is this is from America. And this is probably the best version of it. It's by James Gordon, not James Corden. I want to be clear about that. We don't talk about James Corden on this podcast. It's by James Gordon for thedailymail.com. Interestingly, Rob, published at 1:14 a.m, which I thought was interesting. So he's up working the midnight oil.
Yeah, apparently so, yeah.
Woman, okay, here's the headline, Rob. Woman, it's one of those headlines that tells you everything that the story's about, but we'll read it anyway. Woman is forced to bite a camel's genitals to escape after the animal sat on her at the Tiger truck stop in Louisiana, where she ran into its enclosure chasing her deaf dog. Can I just say, this journalist doesn't know how to write a headline. Because, shall I read that again?
Yes, please.
So, woman is forced to bite a camel's genitals to escape after the animal sat on her at the Tiger truck stop in Louisiana, where she ran into its enclosure chasing her deaf dog.
Okay, I mean, so, I do understand.
Do we have to read the story?
Curious.
I mean, that's kind of it, isn't it?
Not really. I mean, I do have to ask, why is there a camel enclosure, a truck stop in Louisiana?
Rob, why does Eagle Heights exist?
Well, that's a good... I mean, you know, so they can rescue various mammals from around the world. And hopefully, you know, try to... You know, keep hold of them and not let them escape. Or
attack their paying customers. For anybody who doesn't know, who's maybe just tuning in today, Eagle Heights is a place in Ainsford, I think it is, in the UK, which is this kind of like mini safari park, but has had some real, what should we call it? Some really compromising sort of safety situations over the years. Like cheetahs have attacked people who visited it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's I don't think there's anything liable there.
So we've featured many a story about Eagle Heights, but Rob, this is about Louisiana. A woman was forced, Rob, to bite a camel's testicles to escape after it sat on her when she ran into its enclosure chasing her loose dog. Now, when it says loose dog, I believe it means, you know, the dog had escaped. I don't think it means loose in the terms of sexually loose.
Right.
Don't think it means promiscuous.
I hope it wouldn't be casting aspersions on her poor blind dog, because, you know, it's
deaf,
already
Rob,
blind.
Deaf. Nobody had mentioned anything about blindness.
Oh,
don't take away its sight as well.
Okay, fine.
The incident happened at a Tiger truck stop known for exhibiting exotic animals in Louisiana when her pooch ran into the camel enclosure, not a euphemism. The dog, which was deaf, was unable to hear his owner's calls at the Tiger truck stop in Grosse Tete, I don't know where this is, on I-10, a few miles west of Baton Rouge, so the woman chased after it. The dog ended up running under a double barbed wire pen belonging to, Rob, Casper the camel. And Casper is a very beautiful, Rob, like sort of white cream, off-white camel. He's actually very stunning.
Leave it alone, Alex. He's been traumatised enough.
As the lady tried to catch her deaf dog, she disturbed the camel, who decided to sit down on top of her, very nearly crushing her. Camels can weigh, Rob, up to 1,100 pounds.
Wow, that's heavy.
Yeah, slightly less than you.
I mean, that's really offensive, Alex. I'm trying to lose weight.
I don't know how much you weigh. But
can I also ask, by the way, so are you telling me there's a chain of truck stops which routinely have wild animals associated with them?
Exotic. Well, Rob, if you're a truck driver, right, and you've been driving many a night, you know, lonely summer nights, you need somewhere to stop off and, you know, just have a night in a hotel room with an exotic animal.
But then
maybe that's what it is.
I mean, it could well be. It could be, yeah, some sort of, you know, salacious pet petrol station where you can engage, in intercourse with erotic animals.
Exotic animals, Rob. Well, although they are erotic.
I know. I meant Alex. I meant erotic. But I mean, also, you need somewhere to dump the bodies of the prostitutes.
Rob, didn't there used to be a chain of hotels called something like Best Inn? What was it called?
There's Best Westerns.
That's it, Best Westerns. So I was thinking,
they still exist.
Bestial Western. There's an idea right there, Rob. We need to start this chain. So anyway, Rob, the woman had to do whatever she could to get out from under the animal. A male dromedary. So she bit...
Dromedary.
Right, so she bit on the animal's testicles. Her quote is, "I bit his balls to get him off me. I bit his testicles to get him off me," she told police. She was taken to a local hospital, but her condition is unknown. No serious injuries to the camel was reported. Police say the dog was simply chasing treats that the woman's husband had thrown into the camel's pen. What? The camel is 18 months old and has lived at the truck stop since replacing Rob, Tony the Tiger, who unfortunately had to be put down in October 2017 because of kidney failure and other health issues.
This story has everything. I mean, sorry,
Tony the Tiger.
So I have questions. So her partner was throwing treats into the camel enclosure.
Yeah, not a euphemism.
Right? Yeah. No. The dog can't hear her owner anyway. So how does the owner call her normally?
Exactly, Rob. This dog needs to be put down.
Well, I suspect that that's exactly what the partner was trying to do. I think he was trying to wait for the cost of the anaesthetics to put the dog down, and hopefully he was just betting on the fact that the animal was going to sit down and crush the poor thing.
Possibly, Rob. I mean, I do need to say that. So this camel replaced Tony the Tiger, who, as I said, needed to be put down in October 2017 because of kidney failure and other health issues. That Tony the Tiger is in no way affiliated with the Kellogg's brand of Frosties. I need to make that clear, kids. Tony the Tiger is not dead, because that would upset a lot of kids, Rob.
It would, Alex, yeah. I think you can also say, I think it would upset a lot of kids if Tony the Tiger had lived out the rest of his days on a truck stop in Louisiana as well.
With random truckers having sex with him, yeah.
Allegedly.
A coati, which is Coati, a member of the raccoon family native to South and Central America, also lives at the truck stop, along, Rob, with a miniature horse and a baby kangaroo.
This is like the world's shittest petting zoo.
Tiger truck stop owner Michael Sandlin has said he hopes to bring in more animals to build a children's petting zoo. Rob, he needs to bring in Alan Ames. Alan Ames will tell him what to do.
Is it a possibility?
Owner of Eagle Heights, everybody.
Yeah.
Or previous, I don't know.
Is it a possibility? We haven't heard a lot from Alan. Is it not a possibility he's left Gambia, he's got a new pseudonym, and he's just started this chain of very niche truck stops in the US?
Rob, anything's possible. He says, the owner, the camel has never been aggressive. The camel has never gotten out, never caused any issues. Deputy Hamilton Jr. said, according to reports. In fact, the husband and wife stated before that we've been here before and they've never had any problems. The camel did nothing wrong. The couple were aggressive. The camel was just doing its normal routine. The couple was cited for trespassing and violating area leash laws. Authorities didn't find reasons to hold the truck stop liable for their injuries because the camel was enclosed and signs warning visitors to stay out are posted every 10 feet along the fence. I'm looking at a picture right now, Rob, of the camel, and there is a sign that says no trespassing. Violators will be prosecuted. And that is that story. There are 397 comments.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'll just go through a few of them. Shay J from Taunton in the United States says, so she took her deaf dog to a place where he shouldn't have been and was comfortable at, then assaulted a captive animal. Hope she's fined. People taking their pets places they have no business is the worst. Kim says, it kind of reminds me of a Scottish friend of mine who got drunk and put his wellies on without realising a sheep was already wearing them, or at least that's what he told the magistrates.
Right, okay.
I think that's a reference to sheep sex.
That's a good episode title, reference to sheep sex.
Yeah, well, yeah, we might have better as the episode goes on. Right, we'll leave that there, Rob. Okay, I think I need to read this story. It is from our obligatory nowadays. I mean, it never used to be like this, but our obligatory story on the Daily Mirror.
Of course, yeah.
This is by Elaine McCahill, who's deputy news editor. On the 20th of September, headline: Moment woman's foot blister explodes all over her fellow passengers during flight.
Oh, what an image that is.
This is the moment a woman's blister burst on a plane, spattering blood across her fellow passengers. The incident happened on an American Airlines flight to Miami on Wednesday, with Florida talk show host Andy Slater documenting the entire incident on Twitter. He said the blood exploded so far that it even landed on two men sitting in front of him. It splattered across the aisles, the plane's windows, and even landed on one of the men's books, and I am looking at a picture of the man's novel, which is indeed splattered, Rob, with blood.
Fuck off. That is unbelievable. That cannot be true.
Well, it is.
How big was this blister?
Mr. Slater shared numerous pictures of the bloody scenes and said the splatter even reached passengers and their armrests. Yes, it's all over the armrests, all over the seats. He also posted pictures of the woman curled up in a blanket and said he hoped it would be thrown out before revealing on his show that it was used to wrap up the woman's feet. A video shows paramedics boarding the plane after they landed in Miami to treat the woman and others who were splattered with blood. A flight attendant is heard telling the woman that she and the two other passengers had to speak to paramedics from the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Department. He also said he would have to file a report on the incident. Writing on Twitter afterwards, Mr. Slater said the flight eventually left for Nashville, but was 30 minutes late, hopefully, he said, because of a deep cleaning. His Twitter followers were disgusted by the incident, with one replying, "Airlines have to make passengers keep their feet covered at all times. This is ridiculous." Another wrote, "I'm guessing the air pressure caused the blister to pop. I'm using bro science, although I could be 100% wrong. Either way, this shit is nasty, and she should be wearing shoes." And a third question, Rob: why was her foot out in the first place? Why was it elevated? Why was she popping it? People should not treat a plane like their living room. Thoughts, Rob?
Do we know this for a fact? Did she actually have the blister out? I mean,
I think what happened was
sandals?
I think what happened was she'd taken off her shoes, and this blister, which had presumably been building with pus for some time, it must have been the pressure, just burst.
That legitimately turned my stomach then when you said that. Yeah, that's a horrible, horrible thought.
Well, Eats from Bin simply says filthy tramp, Rob, which is lovely.
I agree.
Rob, I need to just read you a very, very small story, which I believe is sort of in some ways related to this one. Not directly, just in terms of the theme. And this is from the New Shopper by Liam McInnery, who's a reporter for Bromley and Lewisham, apparently. 22nd of August. I just like this. It's very short, but it makes the mind boggle. It's about St John's Road in Penge, which is basically near where I park every morning to get the train. So I know this road very well. And the headline is St John's Road, Penge, woman arrested after allegedly attacking van. Police property, including a cell block and a van, had to have a special deep clean, Rob, because a woman reportedly spat and ejected bodily fluids after being arrested in Penge. Now, Rob, ejected bodily fluids, what are we thinking here? That she pissed everywhere, shat everywhere? What? Is that what we
Yeah, I think so.
Did she lactate?
Maybe a combination of both. Yeah, I mean, we don't know what her medical situation was, but it could be a combination of both, and I mean, God knows. Yeah, as you said, the mind boggles.
Well, basically, police say Marie Archer, 51, started attacking a parked van, Rob, while armed with a garden rake and an empty bottle of tequila. Now,
that's a good start to a day.
A garden rake and an empty bottle of tequila is a good episode title.
Yeah, I wonder if we can try and incorporate the attack on a van. I quite like that as well.
Well, as you know, Rob, Bromley police take to Twitter and Facebook to tell people about these various incidents in a humorous way. Well, they wrote, what the van did to upset her, we don't know. Police arrived at St John's Road just after midnight on August 20th to find the van with a smashed rear window and several dents. Archer was arrested at the scene and was also taken in for allegedly throwing a bottle of booze through a window of a home 5 days earlier. A police statement added, Archer was placed in the back of a police van and then taken into police custody. When she was arrested, she allegedly started spitting on and ejected bodily fluids, so much at everything that part of the cell block and the whole police van had to have a special deep clean for hygiene reasons.
Jesus Christ.
Yuck. We wouldn't want some other person arrested on suspicion of something to have to sit in a pile of sputum or other substance. No one deserves that. It's not nice and really, really dirty. Again, I think those comments from the police are inappropriate. This woman could have been mentally ill. She could have had a medical condition. And basically, you're making fun of her. As are we. But we're not the police, Rob.
Not anymore. No, not since the incident.
Well, Rob, I'm just going to finish here with a very short story. Well, kind of reasonable, but I mean, I'd just like to know your thoughts. It's from the Evening Express. Now, where is the Evening Express?
Never heard of it.
I think it's somewhere. You think they would say the name of the... Oh, Aberdeen.
Oh, right, okay. Fair enough.
By Leanne Murray, but I don't think it's related to Aberdeen. You know, they're just reporting on the story from somewhere else. 17th of September. Hunt after dog disappears in northeast on 700-mile trip across country, Rob. So, 5-year-old collie, Mooty, Rob, escaped while being transported from her old home in Shetland to a new owner in Cheltenham. So let's be clear, she used to live in Shetland, but now she's being transported to a new owner, a whole new owner in a whole new part of the country in Cheltenham. Aren't you from Cheltenham?
Okay. I was born in Cheltenham, yeah.
Right. Annette Dean had been booked to transport her on the last stage of her long journey from Newton Hill to the Gloucestershire town. But Mooty escaped from her garden, where she was staying overnight on August the 28th, and has not been seen since. Annette, 41, the owner of an equine transport service. I just love that combination of words.
Yeah.
Owner of an equine transport service is a good episode title. Said she was concerned for the welfare of the missing dog. The collie was moving home because her owner was ill and needed to go into hospital. She said, I picked her up at 8:30 a.m. that morning from the ferry, and she was meant to stay with me for one night before I drove her down to her new owner. She was outside the garden, in the garden all day, and my daughter was outside watching her when she just very quickly got under the fence. I'm worried somebody has seen her and not known who to contact. We are continuing to search for her, but there have been no sightings so far. Mooty was last seen in fields at Cranhill, close to Annette's home at 8:30 p.m, Rob, and was running towards the cliffs. Annette,
oh my sweet lord.
Wait. Annette said search parties have been busy looking, but the dog had disappeared. She's described as white with black markings on her face. Missing dog posters have been handed out to veterinary practices in the area, Rob, businesses, as well as, Rob, Mrs. Murray's cat and dog home in Aberdeen. Now that is a good episode title. So, you know, capital letters at the beginning of each word. Mrs. Murray's cat and dog home in Aberdeen. There's a sitcom in there, Rob. The poster states that Mooty will be unsure of her whereabouts because she's not familiar with the area. Annette has also been in contact with a local dog warden and Police Scotland. She says, I'm just finishing, Rob, it's been more than 2 weeks now. No one stopped looking. I think everybody just wants to see her safe at this point. Now, Rob, Mooty's not coming back, is she? Mooty's dead.
Oh, God, no. No, she's dead. Yeah, without a doubt, that dog is dead.
If the last sighting is of a dog bounding towards cliffs, and then they haven't been seen for 2 weeks, deduction, inference would probably indicate the dog is dead. What's really sad about this to me, Rob, is that there's something so tragic about this story. Like, the owner was ill and had to give the dog away, but it almost feels like the dog couldn't bear that. And I think, it ran towards the cliffs, Rob, like a lemming.
Yeah, absolutely, it's a possibility. I mean, this woman had one job, Alex, one job, and I just imagine she was trying to do a good deed, but ultimately caused the dog more. This is basically the equivalent of Dr. McInnery. Is it Miss Dr. McInnery? What's the doctor?
Mr. McInnery, the vet from League of Gentlemen, another League of Gentlemen reference. Yes, yeah, okay, yeah. So you're blaming her for this?
I'm not necessarily blaming her. No, I am. Yeah, I'm blaming her. Yeah.
Okay, Rob, you got some stories for us there.
Yeah, both of these have kind of done the rounds in national papers, but I've got the local news versions, as promised, to a certain listener. He knows who he is. So the first one is from the Bristol Live website. It's from the 4th of September by Jonathan Coles. And the headline, Man annoyed to find one baked bean in Heinz tin bought from Tesco's.
I don't believe this story. If you picked up that tin, it would have no weight to it. You'd know that it was empty, Rob.
There's sauce in there, Alex. The sauce is waiting.
There was sauce and just one bean.
Well, one baked bean. Yeah.
How many of these bloody stories are we going to have about people buying something and it, I don't know, it not being what they were promised? I just don't get
because we know, we have covered enough stories to know these stories are the staple of local news.
Rob, that's somebody in a factory taking the piss. Isn't it? In the baked beans factory, deciding to have a jape and a laugh. Well, mate, I just filled up a tin with one baked bean in it.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone was just, let's face it, someone was probably near the end of their shift, was just bored at quality control and thought, this will brighten my next few minutes.
Do you know what I would have done if I were them, just to take it up a notch? Yeah. I would have filled it with tomato juice, the bean juice, put one bean in it, but then put a piece of paper in it saying, I owe you 350 beans. Or whatever the average amount is.
Would you not also then just take a black marker and just take out the second Z, so it says Heinz baked? Oh no, Heinz baked bean.
Yes, I would. That's a great idea.
I can't take credit for that. I heard someone mention this story on a podcast, and do you happen to remember? There's an episode of Bottom, where I think it's Spudgun. Where I think Richie asked Spudgun about what he was thinking, and he says exactly that if a baked bean tin was opened with only one baked bean, they should change the label to Heinz baked bean. So. I
did not know that, which gives the kind of rather compelling idea that this factory worker who played this jape, if that's indeed what happened, was a Bottom fan.
If that is the case, that's a cause for celebration. Anyway,
absolutely.
A Bristol man says he's been had after opening a can of Heinz baked beans only to find one bean inside. The average tin of Heinz baked beans contains 465 beans.
Okay, so I said 350, so I was quite far off, but I was at least, well, no, I was off. But yeah, okay, that's good to know.
But I mean, yeah, not that far off. I'll give you that. So Steve Smith was flabbergasted to find a near empty tin in his shopping. Mr. Smith, 41, had bought the multi-pack tin from Tesco online and was hoping to cook a meal after a busy day. But the Bristol City Councillor, based in Bristol, was thwarted by a shocking discovery. There was only one bean in the tin. The can was full of bean juice, but only one bean. Steve said, I got back late for a residents' meeting and wanted some food. I poured out the tin and found one bean. I thought it was funny, but annoying. It was the last tin we had in the cupboard. I had to add scrambled egg inside.
Were there headlines calling this guy Mr. Bean? Because if there weren't, then they really missed out.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
He is Mr. Bean now, surely forever.
But also, this guy is a Bristol City Councillor. Now, I know. I don't think councillors have a salary because I know they're elected, but they must have something. But this man is living on baked beans.
There's nothing bad. Rob, I've had baked beans on toast on an evening when I haven't had time to cook something. We don't all live luxurious lifestyles like you know.
Yeah, that's true. I can't disagree.
What are you having tonight to eat?
Oh, we're having salad tonight, actually. Tuna salad.
Sorry. So, a what?
A tuna salad.
I thought you said a Caesar salad. The idea of you just sitting there eating just a salad, tuna salad, that's fine.
What's funny about a Caesar salad? I'm a cultured guy.
Because there's nothing in it. It would just be leaves and... do you know what I mean?
And some croutons and some delicious sauce. Yeah.
Is this some sort of healthy eating thing you're doing? Because a tuna salad isn't very filling, Rob.
No, I know, but yeah, I could as you said before, my weight has ballooned.
Well, I didn't mean that. I was just... I don't know. I don't think your weight has ballooned. I think it's been pretty constantly...
I haven't left the house in 4 weeks. I can't fit out of the door. Mr. Smith, a Conservative councillor for Westbury-on-Trim and Henleys, said he eats beans once every couple of weeks.
There we go. We don't need to know that, but fine.
He posted a video of the find on Twitter and tagged manufacturers Heinz. He said, "Hi at Heinz UK. I enjoy bean juice as much as the next person, but when I opened the tin this evening, I was hoping for more than one bean." He said, "I thought they might see the funny side. Heinz has been approached for comments." And that's.
I'd love the fact if Heinz didn't see the funny side and just sent rather threatening letters to him, and then people round to silence him. I'm sure that wouldn't happen. The Heinz family or whoever owns them, I'm sure, are a fine organisation. Rob, can I just ask you a question related to beans?
Yes.
It popped into my head as you were reading the story. How did it ever come about that with KFC, like, who came up with the idea that a good side for fried chicken would be a cup of beans?
That's a good question, but you also know that they are barbecue beans.
Yes, but it still doesn't quite make sense to me. It feels to me like nobody could think of what would go with a fried chicken drumstick, and somebody said, "Let's just shove some beans in a pot."
That's probably very true. Also, I would suggest that someone realised they were cheap, and so it was
and that.
Yeah. I mean, it's KFC. What do you expect,
Rob? KFC is surely but KFC are the highest quality fried chicken of the fried chicken shops. Now that might not be saying much, but they are nevertheless at the top of that league.
I cannot disagree with that. Although I have to say, when I have been hungover, I have been quite partial to a chicken cottage.
Right. Okay, Rob, have you got another story for us?
Yeah, so my second story is from the Gloucestershire Live website. This goes back to the 8th of August, and again, it's a co-written story by Olive Loveridge Green and Melissa Jones, and the headline. Now, this just epitomises Gloucestershire perfectly, especially some of the more affluent parts of the county. Waitrose shopper returns half-eaten loaf with a handwritten note complaining it contains too many seeds.
So your stories are very similar, really, aren't they, Rob?
Yeah, they're definitely variations on the theme.
Right. So, okay, too many seeds in her bloody bread.
A Waitrose shopper stunned other customers when she turned up with a half-eaten loaf of bread and asked for a refund. The disgruntled woman appeared with a £1.49 Jackson seeded bloomer at the customer's service till and told the employees what was wrong with it.
Can I just say, a £1.49 Jackson seeded bloomer is a very nice episode title.
Yeah, very simple, but I like it. Also, can I just say, if you've never tried a Jackson seeded bloomer, I really would recommend it. It's a delicious loaf of bread.
Sounds like a euphemism, but okay.
Yeah, true. She had prepared a handwritten note before her trip back to the Cirencester store, which read, "Quantity of seeds has increased over the last 2 months. Character as bread has now changed. Not as good."
I know, as you know, Rob, being an ex-Waitrose employee, they will have given her that refund.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. No problems there.
Other shoppers stood and watched as she discussed the issue for about 15 minutes. The woman, said to be in her 50s, was granted a full refund for the 800-gram bread last Thursday. A female onlooker said, "I don't think you can get a more middle-class complaint if you tried. I went in to pick up a parcel at lunchtime, and at first I didn't take much notice. But after a few minutes, I took a quick look at what was happening at the counter, and I'm usually in and out after a few minutes. I've never seen anyone take such a firm's..." Yeah, so on.
No, sorry to interrupt. This whole thing to me epitomises. I don't know. It's like the great divide in Britain, isn't it? On one end of the spectrum, you've got a man opening a tin of beans, yeah, and it's got only one bean in.
Yep.
These would be the poor and dispossessed of our country who really have nothing due to austerity.
Yep.
And then at the other end, you have a woman returning a quite expensive loaf of bread, complaining there's too many seeds in it. And it's making her sick. It's too luxurious. And I'd like it if it had less in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the bread just isn't the same, Alex. She can't relate to it anymore. It's an entirely different person. Yeah. I mean, what I love is, so just going back to that previous quote where the woman said that she only popped in, she's in and out in a few minutes, but then watched this encounter, made this quote. "I've never seen anyone take such a firm view on seeds." Great quote. What a great quote.
Taking a firm view on seeds is a good episode title.
Yeah. The poor customer service worker had to hear the whole story of her bread buying. She had apparently been buying the loaf of bread for years. She really did seem quite upset. I don't know how long she was there for, but when I walked in, she was there when I walked in, and she was still there 15 minutes later.
I feel this is one of these things, Rob, where the seeds on the bread is a surface issue. I think this woman is unhappy about something else in her life, and it's being manifested here, because there's no reason why you'd get so unreasonably worked up. Do you see what I mean? This is the seed that broke the camel's back, reference to camels from earlier, but you see what I mean? Yep. It's something's caused her to break. There's been a build-up of other stresses in her life, but this she couldn't take anymore, Rob.
Absolutely. And the fact that, can I just also make the point that obviously this was a half-eaten loaf of bread. So every day she's been, eating another slice, and slowly the rage, the righteous indignation has been building. And then finally, like on Wednesday, she snapped and went, "That's it! I'm writing a note!"
Well, my question is, why didn't she just stop after one slice? Surely that would have been enough to have told her there are too many seeds in it, but But
I think she had to, she's really tried, and she's tried to endure this increasing seed counts. But it was just it was
the
too
idea
much
of just imagine her, Rob, in her kitchen, and she's looking at that bread and she's making the decision. She's like, no, I'm actually not going to stand for this. I'm sick of being walked all over. And she takes the bread, wraps it up, walks down her driveway, gets in her car, and drives to Waitrose. She's had all that time in the car to think, is this a good idea? And she thinks, look, people have fought for civil rights, they fought for the vote, they fought for everything. This woman, Rob, she fought for less seeds on her bread. And why not? Why not?
Absolutely, Alex. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a comment from the makers of the bread, which is saying they haven't changed the consistency of the bread. They haven't added any more seeds, and surprisingly, Waitrose has declined to comment. So there we go.
Okay, Rob. Look, before we get to the listener story, which we always have, I read a letter in the Guardian this week, which I feel I have to read out. So the Guardian has, I don't know if you've ever looked at it, Rob, but they have a My Life in Sex column where they have readers write in, and then people will comment about it. It's basically people sharing kind of like their sex lives or their view on what, I don't know, kind of, the varied kind of sex lives of people around the world, really. I often see these letters, and they are verified by the guy. I mean, they're all kind of genuine. Do you know what I mean? Because they get lots of submissions.
Yeah.
And this person, Mr. Anonymous, decided to write in this letter, and I just wanted to feature it, Rob, because it was so touching, Rob. This letter, and it was so beautiful, as just an example of just love in the purest sense, that I really want to share it with our listeners here.
Oh my God, you're going to take the piss.
No, Rob, this is no. This honestly, I'm actually genuinely telling you that this touched me so much. I thought, I know this podcast isn't a platform for this kind of thing, but for once, I just want to share a really good news story. I'm serious, Rob. So
Okay, fine. I won't pass judgment just yet.
My partner and I have been very much in love for about 7 years. Early on, she told me about a man she had met briefly, years earlier, to whom she had felt a sexual attraction unlike anything she had experienced before. Nothing happened, so it stayed an unexplored fantasy. A year ago, they met again by chance, and the chemistry was, she explained, instantly electric. We had a frank discussion about her desire for him, which resulted in her taking him to bed one afternoon for what she described as the best orgasm she had ever experienced. This was followed by weekly lunchtime sex with him at my apartment in London.
Right.
Soon afterwards, my partner and I decided to live together, and her lover began to visit our place once or twice a week. The challenge, for me, was to recognise that the chemistry she had with him was no threat to her love for me. I could not ask her to forgo such enjoyment. He is 20 years younger than me, 15 years younger than her, so there is a huge difference in the pleasure she gets from each of us. I recognised that the problem, Rob, was mine, not hers. We interact comfortably, and they feel unself-conscious about showing their mutual attraction in my presence. I enjoy seeing their foreplay or hearing them have noisy sex in the spare room, not as a matter of eroticism, simply two people having a good time. She would not want me to have the same, and so I remain happily monogamous. Through honesty, openness, and trust, we have found the formula for a perfect model relationship.
Okay.
That's the end of the letter that he felt the need to write to the Guardian.
I mean, what could you possibly say to that?
I loved, Rob, that he had to recognise that the problem is not hers, it's his. Somebody did comment. There were lots of comments on the story, but somebody did just say, it was just one line. It's not even worth reading all of it. It was just one line that just said, well, this is going to end well, isn't it?
I get the impression that someone said to him that I don't think that's a line he's come up with himself. I guess someone's told him that he had the problem.
Yeah.
I feel really sorry for this guy.
So do I. This to me represents something about the breakdown of our society. Somebody else made the point as, what would people say if the genders were reversed? I don't think, because there are a lot of sympathetic comments on this saying, well, if it works for you, great. But if the genders were reversed, I think we'd view that quite differently. Some people did say, look, mate, this is an abusive relationship.
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that. This is, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, unless she has openly expressed the love for both of them, which may well be the case, which isn't mentioned in the article, fair play. If that works for them as a dynamic, so be it. But I do feel that, you know, next he'll be asked to move out, and then he'll still be turning up at the door. She's changed the locks.
Yeah, he'll be asked to move out, but he'll still come round once a week and make them breakfast. Okay, Rob, it is time now, as it is at this time every week, for our listener story of the week. And who is it from, Rob?
So this week it is from Amy.
Can I just say, you promised me last week you were going to follow up on that man who had the problem with the penis story that I read out.
Oh, shit.
And I reminded you over text, and you haven't done it.
No. Can you remind me again after the episode?
I'm reminding you now. I'm not...
I mean, by the end of this, I will have forgotten. I'll be honest with that. So yeah, I would do my best.
Rob, are you scratching your arse because your hand is going somewhere? I can't see where it's going, but it looks like you are. You're having a good scratch.
I was actually just pulling my underwear up actually, but it's good to pull back the curtain occasionally.
I don't know if that's euphemism. I'm not pulling back your curtains. Okay, Rob.
It's very hairy.
It's from Amy. Amy, who listens to our podcast to help her sleep. Never has there been a more ringing endorsement for the entertainment quality of a podcast than that.
And again, any new listeners, please do not let that put you off. There's some very entertaining parts to this. Hopefully you've enjoyed it thus far. Anyway, so this, as always, this is... It's from the Daily Star, so it's the second story we featured in the Daily Star, and I would just say to any listeners who aren't familiar with the paper, just take this with a pinch of salt.
Is Amy reading the Daily Star then on a regular basis? Is she a star reader?
I don't know. But I mean, it's a great story, but it's a possibility, but I suspect she probably isn't.
Okay.
We haven't had that many, so...
Let's hear it.
So the journalist is David Rogers, who is a senior reporter.
Rob, I think the word journalist should be in inverted commas here.
Well, he's a reporter, Alex. He's a senior reporter.
No,
let's not take that away from him. And it's from the 25th of August.
Can I just say something that really annoys me? If you ever watch Sky News or anything like that, often somebody will come on as like a panellist, is that guy Tom Newton-Dunn, who is the editor of The Sun. And he's a very eloquent guy, like very intelligent and very posh. And I just wish the people who buy The Sun realised that, look, this is the contempt you are held in. You know, this is a highly educated person who's not of the same class of you, probably very privileged background. I mean, I don't know, but come on, Tom Newton-Dunn. And just selling you shit. You know, do you know what I mean? What is it in this country where we like... It's like the people who like Jacob Rees-Mogg and not understand that he's not your friend.
No, I completely agree. But maybe he feels he doesn't have to try, Alex. That's what he loves about the job.
Yeah, well, anyway...
he just tosses out any old shit.
But I do look at Tom Newton-Dunn. I think you're an intelligent guy. Why... How can you get satisfaction from being the editor of The Sun newspaper? But, you know, Tom Newton-Dunn, you know, you do have the right to reply. Maybe listen to this podcast. Rob, come on. What's the story?
Right, okay. Headline. Sex robots with coding errors prone to violence and could strangle humans.
I don't take that with a pinch of salt, and I mean that. I mean, this whole thing... Look, Rob, we've all seen The Terminator, you know. It can go awry. HAL, 2001. Technology is going to be our... Well, if climate change doesn't get us first, but it's going to be our, you know, the source of our destruction. I'm almost certain of it. But let's hear this story.
Well, Alex, but I said I think you need just hold your pinch of salt for the time being, because you'll see why in a second. Sex robots plagued with coding errors could be prone to violent behaviours, including strangling, an expert has warned.
But some people like that, Rob.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that was a point I was going to make as well. Some people probably pay extra for that.
Exactly.
Doll collector. Brick doll banger.
Sorry. Doll collector. And his name's
Doll
Brick
collector, yeah.
Doll banger.
Yep.
Can I just say, Rob, he's treading on our patch. We're the one who comes up with great names. Brick Doll banger is going on our list.
Again, I'm glad you said it because I was going to suggest it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's not the name he was born with.
I don't know if it was. Then I've heard everything. But come on.
Yeah.
Can I say Brick is a great name?
Yeah.
Brick.
I don't know why. I feel like it's an American name. The name's Brick. Brick Doll Banger.
Okay, tell me about Brick Doll Banger then.
In my head or in the story?
Yeah, no, in the story.
Oh, okay. Because in my head, he's some sort of like chiseled, sort of mounty type.
Your fantasy, Rob. It sounds like we're exploring here.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so he fears violent repercussions if robotics are not properly regulated.
Right.
He believes a simple coding error could turn AI girlfriends against their owners if they are equipped with free will.
No, but this is actually a real thing. What he's talking about is a real ethical debate that's going on. But right, number one, if you can't give robots, whether they're sex robots or any other robots, free will because they could turn on us. But by not giving them free will, we're basically creating slaves. It's really what happened in Blade Runner, Rob. You know.
That's true.
The replicants saw themselves as slaves.
And that's what Mr. Dollbanger is conscious of.
Yeah.
Brick, who has close ties with the manufacturing Realbotics and Abyss, told the Daily Star Online, "It scares me to death. It's a machine, and it's always going to be a machine." So I think he takes a very firm stand with his robotic girlfriends.
I'm genuinely impressed that the Star is exploring this. This is something that, in the higher end publications job that I read, this is a very a hot topic of conversation. This so.
Alex, I'm really doubtful that Mr. Brick Harry even exists.
Brick Dollbanger. You can't judge a person by their name, Rob.
No, I think you probably can in his case.
Well, I don't know. You know, come on.
If you've watched the movie Ex Machina, because I honestly believe synthetics are going to look very similar to that movie. It's not going to be something you can hit with a pipe. Sorry, is that right? Yeah. It's not going to be something you can hit with a pipe.
Yeah, he's saying that if it turns against us, it's not like these things are going to have real strength, Rob.
Sorry, but I get the impression he's sitting around his living room engaging with his AI girlfriend while smoking a pipe.
No, a metal pipe.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
You fool.
I thought you meant like a... Okay, yeah.
It says a lot about you, Rob, and where you come from, that when you hear the word pipe, you think of a quaint old smoking pipe, and not what I thought of, a big metal pipe. Because I'm from South East London, and where are you from, Rob? Cheltenham.
Alex, I'm not too proud to say that in my younger years, I did actually own a pipe and used to...
A metal pipe or a smoking pipe?
A smoking pipe.
Right. Whereas I, Rob, walk around the streets of South East London with a metal pipe just to protect myself, and I still sleep with it next to my bed.
Yeah, I believe every word of
It's
that.
called Peter the Pipe, and he's my best friend.
I've always said, when a synthetic can support itself, then a synthetic is going to be much stronger than a normal human. It's going to be more durable instead of having bones. It's going to have high-impact plastic or aluminium frames. It's going to be very strong, and it won't get tired. It won't stop until it runs out of energy.
It's like he's just seen the film Terminator and he's had a revelation like, all right, mate, we've been talking about this for decades now. You haven't just had this epiphany.
But my concern is he's saying all this with a raging erection. Unless you can stop it with some sort of projectile, like a gun or something like that. If this thing got out of control, it could do some serious damage. He's loving this, Alex. Literally, he's ready to go. One line of bad code. As simple as that. One line of bad code. If you make one mistake, if you had a line of bad code in there, and it hits the line of bad code, depending on what it's going to do, or where it's at, or numerous other instances, it could just decide, this is what it's supposed to do. It goes on like this.
Well, one of the big things, Rob, is about artificial intelligence. And the reason that artificial intelligence is so dangerous is that artificial intelligence, once we get to a certain point, will just exponentially become more intelligent to the point where it will be vastly superior in intelligence to us and will quickly conclude that the human race is surplus to requirements and not efficient and all the rest of it. Do you see what I mean? It would have to decide that we had to go.
I mean, he goes on by saying that kind of thing, about, put it this way, you can put its arm around your neck and just stop you from breathing, and you won't be able to get away from it. Something as simple as that. A simple hug could be a constriction that could literally compress your chest and airways and stop you breathing.
Well, I would argue that anybody who's stupid enough in the future to buy a sex robot deserves everything they're getting, because you'd have to be so stupid. I don't understand what's happening to humanity, because it's got a couple of... just because we can do it, that rule, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. There's so many things that we can do with technology and invent, but somebody's got to draw a line somewhere. But we're not going to draw a line, Rob, because we are going to have killer robots as part of military theatre. It won't be 17-year-olds being sent to war anymore. It'll be robots, Rob.
Well, it's very interesting you should say that. So the article concludes by saying, so the company Robotics is working on equipping sex robots with vision and expects robots to be walking in only a decade.
Okay, right, Rob, that brings this episode of LA Podcast to a close. We look forward to, with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation, to our next episode, which will be episode 288. As we move ever more forward, what stories did we have? Where the camel... as we move ever more forward, Rob, like a dog whose owner is very ill, and he's being transported across the country to his new home, and he's staying overnight in a garden, and he makes a bid for freedom, Rob, and runs towards the cliffs, Rob, of eternity. Just like that, we move ever more forward to our next episode, which will, as I say, will be episode 288. We can be found on our website, which is lapodcast.net. All the episodes are there for free if that's how you want to download them. If you like actually just having that raw audio file to keep to yourself, you can download them from there. And there's a donate button in the top right-hand corner if you want to leave us a tip or leave a rolling monthly donation. Hit PayPal and do it. We are on Twitter at LAPodcast, facebook.com/LA Podcast. Obviously, we're on Spotify, by the way. We're on all your podcast apps. Just find us. Subscribe, leave us a review, we really appreciate that, and of course, if you want to submit us a story, you can tweet it to us, post it on Facebook, or email us the good old-fashioned way at lapodcast. No, at lapodcast.net@gmail.com. That's lapodcast.net@gmail.com. Right, and because the full name of this podcast is Local Anaesthetic, people are always asking us, how do you spell anaesthetic? Such a strange word to spell, the British spelling particularly. Rob and I like to spell it out each week phonetically.
I was going to suggest, in the light of Thomas Cook's collapse, we could do holiday destinations.
Holiday destinations? But they're not funny, are they?
It depends where you go on holiday.
Okay, America.
Very nice. I'm going to say somewhere that's I think often gets overlooked in this country, but it really is a beautiful destination. The gorgeous town of Nuneaton.
Well, I thought we were meant to be doing places abroad. Thomas Cook aren't going to take you to Nuneaton, are they? Well, not anymore, anyway.
They might do. They might have a bus.
Antwerp.
Nice, yeah. Well, obviously, everyone enjoys a trip to the beautiful city of Eastleigh near Southampton.
I thought you were going to say Egham. So are we now doing just British places? Is that what it is?
No.
Right, okay, Sri Lanka. Take that.
Yeah, that's lovely, Alex. I think that's a great suggestion.
Go.
I mean, that's okay.
Your go.
I'm going to go for somewhere... I mean, my places are equally as exotic, like tea, for instance. The town of Trowbridge. In
Thomas Cook do not do regional tours on coaches, Rob. Fine. 8.
How do you know?
Haiti,
yeah, great, yeah. I mean, there's Haiti and
Can
Trowbridge
you get on with
have a lot
it, Rob?
in common. Right, well, let's go on a magical trip to Eindhoven in Holland.
Okay, you did. Okay, you got somewhere abroad. Well done. T. Tokyo.
Absolutely, and who doesn't enjoy a delightful and really beautiful trip to one of the coldest places on Earth, where you can see the Northern Lights. That's right, one of the best places in the world, Ipswich.
Not Iceland. Well, I'm sick of this. C for Corfu. Right, that's it. We're done.
Crab meat. Sorry.
Thank you for listening, everyone. That's how you spell anaesthetic. If you made it this far, you've learnt something this week. And if you've been listening for numerous weeks where we've been doing that, it's just been pummeled into your head now how to spell the word anaesthetic. We will be back in a week's time. Thank you for listening. Can't wait to be with you again with more local news, Rob, for local people. God bless.
And keep it local.